to the Noona's Noonchi Deep Dive, being introspective with K-dramas from a mental health perspective. Welcome to the month of March. And in celebration of upcoming International Women's Day on March 8th and Women's History Month, guess what I'll be highlighting this month? Yep, you guessed it, women. Women's achievements, celebrations, successes, empowering women through the lens of K-dramas and through the lens of mental health. I cannot wait to do this with you. Let's kick things off, shall we? With talking about love and leashes and forecasting love and weather. I had to do both because I thought they related, and I'll explain why. First, I want to share the International Women's Day theme this year for 2022, March 8th, is Break the Bias. I cannot think of a better theme, particularly this year and what's happened in the US. We're dealing with anti-Asian hate, racism, violence, y'all, and it's been difficult. And then recent murders have really sent women, particularly Asian women, distressed, feeling unsafe, including myself. And then thinking about my daughter and how she's graduating college and living on her own soon. Gosh, I don't think I've ever been more worried, a little fearful, right? But I don't want to live on fear. And that's why I think it's super important now more than ever that we look at the portrayals of women in K-dramas. We're talking K-dramas here, and also Korean movies because I'm talking about Love and Leashes. And looking at those portrayals that lift us up, empower us, make us feel strong, badass, make us question things because they're addressing certain things that we never thought about. That's super important for your mental health, to question things as well, right? And if we're talking about breaking the bias, we got to question some things. I want to start by addressing stereotypes surrounding females. And what does that look like when it comes to Love and Leashes, Korean movie, and forecasting love and weather? For this, again, I just chose two more recent things because they were on my mind because I watched them recently. Otherwise, there's so many to choose from. Really, there are. And we will get through them this month as best as I can, okay? So be patient. But let's talk about Love and Leashes. Did you watch it? BDSM in a Korean movie. Talk about breaking the bias. And seeing a female as the dominant. Now, I really liked the way this was done. I'm just saying. It was a light movie. It's actually what I expected, just judging from the advertising, the marketing. I thought, this is going to be kind of fun. Maybe more on the comedy level. I think it was. But addressed certain topics like BDSM and stigma and just the male-female gender roles, breaking the bias stereotypes, I thought really well. And as a female, I don't know about you, I need to see this. Again, to boost our mental health, really important what you watch. You know what they say, trash in, trash out. Sorry to use that, but what you watch really does affect you. Okay, so that's why I don't watch the stressful K-dramas for my own mental health. Just saying, if they appeal to you and they're entertaining, great, do that. But if they continue to cause you some stress, don't watch them. Take a break. And Love and Leashes is a Korean movie, but popular demand, you guys have asked for me to do a deep dive, so I shall. And then we'll talk about forecasting love and weather with Park Min-young and Song Kang. New drama that's going on. I think we're only on episode 6 at this point, right? But International Women's Day, Break the Bias 2022. Wow. Let's first talk about stereotypes. What is a stereotype? Well, in the perspective of mental health, it is harmful, distressing, and untrue and false stereotypes. The exact definition, or around the exact definition, is a preconceived idea, a fixed notion, oversimplified, opinion or idea, notion, surrounding characteristics of people, races, community, that lead people to mistreat them or treat them in a particular way. Did you notice I added mistreat? Because according to definitions, it'll say treat them in a particular way, but I'm going to add mistreat. Because generally in my field of mental health, when we're talking about racism, stereotypes, hate crimes, that is what I'm seeing, mistreating happening. So I'm being very real, and it's distressing, right? And why am I going to bring up Love and Leashes and forecasting love and weather? Because guess what? I think they're good to watch for your mental health. Now again, forecasting love and weather is still happening, so I don't really know how it's going to end. But I really like how they're showing the female lead, Park Min-young, that I believe is breaking bias and dispelling stereotypes surrounding women. Let's pause there because I want to start with Love and Leashes. Okay. Particularly, let's talk about BDSM. I really like the way the movie addressed the stigma surrounding it. And there's still a lot of things not known, right? People just have a certain perception, a stereotype. Well, I really like the way they even talked about it. The more you talk about things, the more you dispel stereotypes and break stereotypes and realize, well, everyone's different. Everyone's experiences are different. There's not enough research out there on BDSM, but what I have found regarding mental health, because that's always my perspective, is that it is not harmful and that there is stigma surrounding it. But when it's done well in a trusted relationship, it can enhance the relationship and make one feel more connected to one another. Look at Love and Leashes. They feel more connected, especially at the end. Hello. They didn't go into other liking each other, not at all. They had a very business-like contract, which they signed. She was asked to be the master. Let's talk about breaking the bias there and stereotype. Here's what I want to point out, and then I'll do a similar analogy with Forecasting Love and Weather. Look at the female lead's shift in her confidence level, self-image. Before then, we would kind of gather that she was a little bit more on the timid side, just doing her job, kind of going with the flow. And then when she becomes the guy's master, the dominant in the relationship, you see a different side of her, which makes sense, right? With the love and the leashes and all that and the barking. That was funny. That really was funny, right? But the whole point was, do you see the shift in her behavior? Her image of herself, her sense of self, her confidence level, maybe starting at, let's just say 1 to 10. It started at a 3. And at the end of the movie, it was like 8, 9, 10. Because of that experience being the master and the dominant. Look at how she shifted at work. I don't know about you, but I saw all of that. I was like, this is really cool to see. She, breaking the bias, breaking the stereotype, as she fell into the role, asked to be the master, the dominant, and he clearly treated her that way at work, and of course in their BDSM relationship. It was really her change that I really saw. Yes, I could look at him as well, and I thought his portrayal was well done, but I'm really looking at the female, because this is also March, but also that was the biggest change that I saw. What I'm trying to get at is stereotypes being distressing, harmful. We need to address them. She addressed it in her own way by being the master and the dominant because she was asked to, but she really fell into that role because she believed in it. Meaning she's like, I can do this. I actually like it. So that's super important to see, right? She enjoyed it. She enjoyed playing that role. Yes, there were sexual nuances, but I really, really believed it was about her confidence, her shift in going, wow, I can be a master. I can be dominant. She didn't see herself that way before. Did you see that? Did you see that shift? That's what I'm talking about. That to me is very realistic. Hey, you guys, we're not necessarily born confident. There are some of us that are maybe more outgoing, maybe we are at ease in certain situations, but that doesn't mean we're always like that. And so it takes some time and effort and learning lessons to shift into confidence depending on the situation you're in. And for her, that was it. And then it even shifted into the workplace, even into other relationships, even to what she thought about herself as we heard about the narration. And at the very end, when this is a spoiler, maybe I shouldn't share it. When things happened in a good way, definitely you see what the male said and that gave her the confidence as well. But I really liked the fact that overall she was already confident about herself and didn't necessarily need the relationship, right? Remember, she confessed first. You always like it when the women confess, right? I do. I really like that. And then let's go back to that. This is a side note. In most of the K-dramas, if I recall, I feel like the Kolbeck confession is mostly done by women. Am I wrong? I don't know. It's just what I'm seeing lately, right? And I'm kind of feeling like the last 3 years, the K-drama writers are shifting that way because that's what they want to see, right? That doesn't mean it's necessarily happening in society. Let's make that clear. But writing about it and wanting to see that portrayal is super important, I'm sure, for their mental health. Let's shift over to Forecasting Love and Weather. Very similar, Park Min-young's character, forget her name. You see it, okay, so can you imagine being cheated on and then, walking in on it? That's a spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. And then it's someone from work per se, and then he marries your fiance that cheats on you marries the person like within 2 months. Yeah, you were engaged to this person. So Park Min was engaged to this person. Pretty much the worst case scenario, I'm going to point out, for any female. And let me tell you, it will blow your ego. It can hurt you in that way, your self-image, your self-confidence, your belief and value in yourself. Yes, it can do that. I'm going to just put it point blankly. I've seen it happen. And can you imagine that? Wouldn't that happen to you? Your confidence just shot like that. And then having to see that person at work, and then see the woman that he got married to, that he cheated on you with, at work. So why am I sharing this? Because I'm trying to kind of set the context of the scenario of Park Min Young's character, breaking the bias and the stereotypes surrounding women. Let me tell you something. I just think it's great. We're all going to say this, right? Episode 2, when she kind of tells him off. Now, I don't recommend per se in a public atmosphere while people are watching, but it had to be done because he called her out on things, and then she called him back right out. But what I like, here's a stereotype that I thought the K-dramas were breaking and dispelling. She has a higher position at work. I thought that was cool, and we tend to see that in the K-dramas lately, but still wanted to point that out. Made more money or has more money. Clearly she put more money down in their apartment, so she was like, hello, I put more money down, so sorry, no, you don't get half of it. Heck, yeah, no, I don't think so. I really like that. Didn't you like that? And I've heard numerous people saying they really like that. Why? Have you thought about why you like seeing that scene, especially for you women? It's because it's empowering, and it gives you an aspirational hope that you can be like that, or you want to be like that. And then it inspires you to be like that. Now, not exactly in that situation, obviously, but maybe so when you have to confront things at work. Maybe it's a male colleague, maybe it's your male boss. Whatever that is, you can dispel stereotypes. In fact, here's what I'm saying to you, that preconceived notion, oversimplified opinion. Does anybody want to be oversimplified? No. That's why I'll say it again. Stereotypes are harmful. They are false. They are untrue. There's many stereotypes out there. I mean, particularly I address this every day in my work, model minority myth, but that Asians are perfect and get the perfect grades, good in math, right? Have perfect families, have no mental health issues. That's extremely distressing to be faced with that just by the way you look and going, yeah, this is how you are. No. You want to define how you are, right? And so you can define your own reality. And what Park Min Young did is that she shifted her reality at that moment. That's what I want to point out. That is why you liked watching it. First of all, she told him off. That needed to happen. Let's be right. Let's be true about that. Let's be kind of, real. But then later on, she shifts and decides, I'm not going to Switzerland. I'm going to stay right here. I'm going to power through this, right? Because they were like, hey, I didn't like that, by the way. Oh, you're going to have to see him every day. He's going to be working here. Oh, it must be hard for you. Yes, it's hard for her. Let's be real. It is hard for her. And it's not easy, her being in the director role. But even the former director, the guy who I really like, was in a lot of other K-dramas and movies, was really smart in saying, yeah, I want to see this for you. I love seeing that. That's another stereotype, dispelling and breaking the bias. You don't get to see a lot, because in real life it doesn't always happen where your male boss wants to see you be in the same position or move up. That doesn't always happen. I'm going to be very real. So you need to define your own future as well. What do you want to see? What stereotype do you need to break or dispel surrounding you, whatever that is? Again, stereotypes are oversimplified, right? So it doesn't mean we all have the same stereotypes. Okay, I sometimes get wow, why you gotta be so loud and talkative? Why, ooh, Jeannie, Asian female saying things, and that is distressful for me. It's been very difficult sometimes when I'm giving a workshop and I sense using Noonchi. That's what people think of me. Who's this woman talking about mental health? Who does she think she is? I have to face that every day in my work when I'm public speaking, and that is not easy. So I have to continually look at K-drama portrayals that give me that aspiration going, oh wow, I love seeing this. Wow, I hope I can do that. It doesn't mean that you will do it, but don't you want that to aspire to see that? Look at Love and Leashes, the shift of how she was, maybe a little mousy, kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, just kind of going with the flow of life. And then she became this dominant master, confessed first, this is how I feel, this is what I want, okay. And then defining herself and who she is, and you saw her confidence build. Like I said, I would gauge it a 3, building literally to 8, 9, 10. I'm saying all three because there's different levels. You can't just pinpoint one number all the time. And then we have forecasting love and weather and Park Min-young's character and how she shifted things and chose to stay in the job. I think she was proud that she's a director. She's still going to have to navigate that role. And then Song-gang, right, his character, technically reports to her and how well she's going to handle that. That's maturity. That's dispelling stereotypes. That's breaking the bias. Again, nothing should be fixed. Remember? Okay, I'm gonna repeat it till I'm blue in the face. There is nothing linear, okay? So nothing should be fixed about a certain opinion. That's why I thought Love and Leashes and Forecasting Love and Weather would be a great way to kick off the first deep dive for the month of March. Again, looking at the confidence shifting in both women is super important. That's actually what I want to point out. Not the fact that they started confidently, they did not. But the reality is you can build your confidence, self-image, regardless of circumstances or through difficult circumstances, as particularly Park Min-young's character did in Forecasting Love and Weather. But Love and Leashes, you can develop the confidence that you didn't know you had or didn't expect in unexpected places like she did through BDSM. And again, break the bias for International Women's Day and dispelling stereotypes is something we constantly and consistently need to navigate and work through. Thank you for watching Noona's Noonchi Deep Dive. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button to get notified of new videos to come. Happy International Women's Day.